If you want to start with cybersecurity, the very first thing you should be doing is you have a lot of different data elements in your company. You have customer information, you have employee information, you have customer contract, you have a lot of different pieces, you have a lot of different data. So first of all, you need to categorize the data, and you need to see which data is most sensitive, which data is a little bit less sensitive, which data is even less sensitive. So you need to categorize the data in a way that is most sensitive to the least sensitive. And the most sensitive data is the one that you should take care of first, and then it goes on. So categorizing what data is important and how it is important, that is the very first thing you should do. Once you have categorized the data, the second thing you should do is implement some basic cybersecurity. And basic cybersecurity is just very simple. You need to make sure that all the systems that you have, they have two-factor authentication enabled. You are using a good authentication system. You are not storing any data without encryption. So each and every piece of data that you are storing back in databases or even your file server or storage, it should be encrypted on the disk. And these things are available with the providers that you are using. Nowadays, data encryption should be at storage as well as in transit. So when the data is communicating through the internet, through the public channel, it should be encrypted. And again, those are very simple things you can do. You can have the SSL between all the applications you have so that all the data is encrypted. So you can have a lot of basic things. You can also have an authentication system installed, a third-party authentication system that you can use that would take care of your username and password credentials for you as well as for your customers. So that's the second thing you do. And then the third thing, what you do is simple, create a one-pager IT policy. So you don't need to create a massive 30-40 page document where you explain some of the key things to your team, how they share the information between the company with the customer, what kind of passwords they should have, what kind of complexity of passwords they should have. They should not be storing the personal information to their work system and vice versa. They should not be mixing it up. They should be using two-factor authentication on all the authentication devices they are using. So some of the basic things, you can always explain it to the team and create a simple document and then just give it to your team. So that's gonna give a good posture for your cybersecurity. It's a good starting point. Now, the fourth thing that you should do is the team training. Those trainings are not that expensive. You can even do some basic training online where you can explain your team about some of the basic attacks like social engineering attacks, phishing attacks, some of the basic things where they understand that cybersecurity is important for your startup and you should be working with the team. So the whole team is working with you to make sure that internal data is safe and at the same time, customers' information is also safe at your company. And last but not least, one of the things that I have seen a lot of startups, they forget or they don't even think about is selecting a third-party vendor. So when you are selecting a third-party vendor, you need to make sure that they are also taking the cybersecurity seriously. They have to have an IT policy in place. You can ask some questions to them. You can also see if they have some compliances in place. So that also validates that they are also taking the cybersecurity seriously. So these are the top 5 things I would do as a startup to make sure that the base of cybersecurity is there.